Welcome to another Q&A. This Q&A is actually more for newbies than and guys that aren't even in water-fed window cleaning yet, but it's we had a case where we had a new system going into Canada, and then he was showing me some photos, so I'm going to put that photo up on the screen somewhere here, and then you'll see that in the dirt you can see some little scratch lines on the window. So you want to try and work out what would be causing the scratch lines. So the cause of scratch lines is always that you haven't agitated enough. Well, it's two things. Either you haven't agitated enough, not enough force on the brush against the glass, and that would mean you've got normal dirt, and then you get little fine lines where you can see where the tips of the bristles have cleaned, right? So you see the line, and where you haven't had the bristles pressed against the glass, or they haven't had enough exposure to the glass. So in that situation, if it's just normal dirt, then, and these guys had only gone over the window once, but it was actually really dirty. So the radial technique is very much something that you would repeat. So if you're cleaning once a month, you can go over the glass once. There's no problem with that. You'll take everything off the glass pretty much. But if you're cleaning something that hasn't been cleaned for a year or two, then what would happen is that dirt, especially on south wall, west wall, that dirt is going to cook onto the glass, and you need to agitate more. So you'd use 2 times of the radial technique. Now I think if you need to go to 3 times and 4 times, then you would upgrade and change your tool to the radial rocker, because it's the radial rocker which really is designed for really, really difficult to clean windows. You don't want to be spending 3, 4, 5, 6 stroke actions on the glass if you could use a different brush that would be able to get it done in 2 actions. Yeah. So the recommendation in that situation is always very regular cleans, maybe monthly, maybe up to quarterly. You should be able to go over the glass once, and you'll be able to clean the glass. But anything over 3 months, then the chances are that the radial technique you would repeat twice. If twice doesn't work, then you're basically using a bristle brush that doesn't have that much efficacy against what you're actually dealing with. And you may find that the north and east walls, which are cooler, that the technique works. So you've always got to think about, something hasn't been cleaned for a year, has been through a whole summer, and if you come from an area where those temperatures can be quite hot and the direct sunlight is intense, then you could be dealing with a different strategy on how you deal with south and west walls in the northern hemisphere, north and east walls in the southern hemisphere. The other one, sometimes when you see lines on the glass, is if the debris that you're looking to clean has actually got hydrocarbons in it. So the oil-based pollution. Often if you're beside a main road or beside a railway track, which is not electric or something, or you've got a factory nearby and their smokestack is putting out hydrocarbons, then what will happen, or a barbecue will do the same, then you basically get an oily mixture of dust and a hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon is anything which is kind of oily, petroleum based. And so what you would do in that situation is that you would get a microfiber cloth in your brush. So normally we would say do that in radial rocker, and then you apply some of your detergent that you use for window cleaning, and you apply a little bit of that to the microfiber, and then you would use your normal technique. And what will happen is that the detergent is basically a degreaser, and so it'll break down the hydrocarbon, and then that'll all go into solution or suspension actually, and then your normal actions will clean that window as well. So those are your 2 situations where you'll see little scratch lines following your agitation pathway. And in this case, you can actually see the scratch lines on this photo are sort of up and down, and he wasn't really going across into the corners. So he kind of learned that, as a secondary thing, right? Because I could tell him what his technique was from reading the scratch lines. So that is the cause of scratch lines. So if you've got anything to add, all of you professional window cleaners, please add it as a comment below, because the edification of the community is often, I'll make the post and then other guys add comments that add value to that, and anybody who's interested can read the comments as well. And So we like that. And if you've got a question which this video doesn't answer, then you can ask that question, and we'll pick that question up, and then we'll turn that into another Q&A, right? And that's how we keep making more Q&As, right? Because you guys ask us more questions. Okay, so that'll do you for today, and we'll see you in the next Q&A.